Florida State Spring Game rolls on here at Doak Campbell Stadium. Sam Niederman, E.J. Manuel, and Pete Thamel down on the sidelines. And a big piece back for the Noles for this season, E.J. Jared Verse, the stud defensive end. He announced that he was coming back over the winter, and instantly this Florida State defense has its main man again.
No question. This is Florida State's defensive MVP coming back. And when you talk about Jared Verse, this is a potential player that would have went in the first round of this current draft here in a few weeks. So it says a lot about Jared deciding to come back to Florida State, giving himself one more year, put together another good body of work, and potentially have a chance to win a national championship here in Tallahassee.
For a little more on Jared Verse, let's check in again with Pete Thamel.
Well, Sam, on the day the transfer portal opened, we have right behind me here maybe the biggest success story in the history of the transfer portal. Jared Verse was at Albany, University of SUNY Albany, if you will, which is an FCS school. He entered the portal last year. I spoke to his father, Eric, and his mom, Janine, today, and they said the moment he went in, it was 100 miles an hour. He got 30 offers. They got texts constantly day and night. And at that point, he ended up visiting Syracuse down I-90. He came to Florida State, Tennessee, and Houston. And he picked the Noles. And I really think when you look at how Florida State has rebuilt itself, this place has become a destination, and it's such a destination, he decides to come back. I asked his family about the decision to come back here, and they made an interesting point. They said they spoke about it as a family, but the decision came to Jared, and a lot of it boiled down to the fact that, A, he likes it here. And if you're winning and the culture is good, and Mike Norvell's obviously set a great culture here, Jared Verse wants to come back. He wants to refine some different parts of his game, but his mom said he has bigger goals, and she said he felt like he could come back here and help himself in the long term instead of get drafted in the short term. So it'll be interesting to see a potential top 20 pick, how high he can climb in the 2024 draft.
Pete, some great points there. And you talk about the culture of this team. Do you want your players to go to the league? Of course. Do you want to have guys that are talented enough to go 3 and out? Absolutely. But when you talk about Florida State specifically and the situation of how this team has kind of gotten back into relevancy. And years ago, players might have been ready to get out of here as soon as they could. But when you have a team like this, all these young men are very tight-knit. I know much about it, obviously, because I played here, and it's a true brotherhood. So it's really cool to see all the things that Coach Norvell has been preaching to his team for years now, going into year 4, that the players are buying into it and obviously want to stick around and help themselves add to their draft prospectus, but also help win some championships too.
Well, you look at all that production coming back, EJ.
Yeah, buddy.
#1 in all of FBS next fall, 87% returning production for the Noles. We are working towards some actual team live action here in the Florida State Spring Game. We'll have it for you on the other side of these messages. Back here in Tallahassee, Garnet and Gold Spring Showcase with some actual football being played here. Organized scrimmage period. We're going to have 3 quarters, 10 minutes in the first and second quarters, and then 8 minutes in the third quarter before the grand finale. That's when the guest coaches will come in. Carlos and P.J. Williams from the 2013 National Championship team. And then Heisman Trophy winner Charlie Ward and Henry Crockett from the 93 National Championship team. That'll be some fun at the end of this spring showcase. But EJ, finally get a look at some live action with Jordan Travis at quarterback for FSU.
Absolutely, and that play right before, Jordan did a great job of throwing that ball out to the flat. And again, this is where he's so versatile. When things break down, he's able to take off with his feet. And the key for Jordan as well is he knows when to get down. Of course, this is a thud practice situation, so nobody's going to come and actually tackle the young man. But the area where I've seen him grow in his game is when he takes off and runs, protect yourself, protect your body, because the main thing that this team needs is QB1 in there in the pocket.
So a first down scramble of 22 yards for Travis there. It's 5-0. The Garnet team has scored a few points just off of the scoring system. And a pass incomplete. Looking for Rodney Hill, who is coming over the middle. Omar Graham there in coverage. When we talked with the coaching staff, they raved about Graham, a player who played with the 1s and 2s after redshirting last season. but they've invested in him. They feel like he's ready for the next step.
Absolutely. In the discussions with defensive coordinator Adam Fuller, he loved Omar Graham. He almost mentioned him because we were talking about Tatum Bethune and Kalen DeLoach, but he mentioned, hey, watch out for Omar Graham. And this is a player that, like you just said, got the reps of the ones and the twos, and is definitely going to pay off in this 2022 season.
Vandravius Jacobs on the end around, brought down there by the reigning ACC Defensive Rookie of the Year, Pat Payton. Big year expected for him.
A huge year expected for Double P right there. And you talk about a player that also is able to put on some weight, maybe 10, 15 pounds. He's definitely looking the part. Young man out of Miami. He's going to be huge on the edge. And again, you talk about adding Braden Fisk. Fabian Lovett's back. Jared Verse is back. And now you have a reigning ACC Freshman of the Year on the defensive side of the football, and Patrick Payton. It's going to be a tough D-line to stop in the ACC.
3rd down and 9. Jordan Travis checks it.
Nice.
C.J. Campbell able to get upfield. That's enough for a first down inside the 40-yard line, as Travis and the first-team offense starting to click a little bit.
And as fans, when you watch these types of plays, it seems mundane because it's a ball out to the flat to a running back, 10-yard gain. But that's what the offensive coordinator, Alex Atkins, and the head coach, Mike Norvell, want. They talked about Jordan Travis maturing. Yes, you want to have the long ball and being able to run the football and all those things he can do, but take what's there. And a lot of times the running back is usually open in the flat, and he can get you those positive yards.
From the 37, a little RPO for Travis, looking for Vandravius Jacobs. Coverage on the play by Azarie Thomas.
Another situation here, zone read, he pulls it, still has the option to throw what looks like a bubble screen. Now you got to be careful there, and from the viewpoint, we didn't get a chance to see it, but that looked like a lateral to me. So I'm pretty sure when they get back to the film room, Coach Norvell, Coach Tony Tokars, the quarterback coach, may say, hey, Jordan, just go ahead and eat that football. Don't do too much there, because you'd hate for a referee to see that and potentially call that a fumble.
Trey
Being that it might be a lateral, just to explain.
Pardon me, EJ. Trey Benson has checked in at running back, and Travis is able to fit one in. Deuce Spann, the Illinois transfer, limited action last season. He makes the catch, and that'll set up a little 3rd down and medium.
Deuce Spann had a really solid year last year. Somewhat of a older statesman when you talk about college players. Redshirt junior, being here for 4 years. But he's definitely going to add some depth to that receiver room because he definitely showed some flashes last season.
Penalty markers down. First time that we've seen the officials throw a flag today. So false start, will move it back. First quarter here of the Florida State Spring Game. Maurice Smith, the center, called for that. One of many returning starters on an offensive line, EJ, that has just been overhauled, and they are ready to be an elite unit for this squad.
Yeah, Maurice Smith started 12 games last season at center and really did a great job honing in. And for the center, it's pretty much being a quarterback on the line of scrimmage. He has to know the protections. He has to get the guards and the tackle. Everybody has to be on the same page for that run game to work. And obviously it worked at a high clip because Florida State ran the ball very well. Oh, got a pick.
Interception. Kalen DeLoach.
Got a pick.
Mission takeaway for FSU. It's the veteran linebacker who steps in front and gets the pick.
Hashtag mission takeaway right there by Coach Adam Fuller. And really, this is just a solid read by DeLoach. And you talk about that veteran leadership. That wasn't even his spot. That was the flat all the way outside, but he read the eyes of the quarterback. Jordan took him out there, got rewarded with an interception. And that might have been a pick 6 unless Jordan Travis could have caught him. Good learning lesson there.
That mission takeaway hashtag, that's something that the defensive coordinator, Adam Fuller, has been emphasizing throughout spring. FSU only 16 takeaways last season. They want to see that number improve. And Kalen DeLoach, the veteran linebacker, has also earned a lot of praise here during spring practice and just the way that he has progressed.
Yeah, DeLoach last year had 4 sacks on the season, 7 PBUs, 3 quarterback hurries. So not only can he pressure the quarterback, as we just saw, he can also catch passes too and take it back to the house potentially for a touchdown.
So now,
good stuff.
Tate Rodemaker and the Gold team look to get going after the interception. There's Christian White, redshirt freshman.
That was a tough run there by Rodney Hill. But when you have the defensive line just doing a really solid job of holding the point, not giving up any easy yards.
2nd and 12, Tate Rodemaker.
Good ball.
Connects with the tight end, Preston Daniel. Had a touchdown against Louisville last year. And Rodemaker was such a key piece in that Louisville game. He led the Noles to the road comeback after Jordan Travis got hurt last season.
And what a great opportunity for Tate Rodemaker last season. Jordan Travis goes out with an injury. And like I said earlier, there's going to have to be a quarterback that's a backup that can still win you a ball game. And sure, Jordan Travis returned after that game, but you could imagine if Tate Rodemaker wasn't ready for the situation, that's potentially an L on the road. So a huge spot, and Coach Norvell said it this week, that gave Tate a lot of confidence moving forward to now know, okay, maybe I'm not the starter, but I know I can go out there and win games too.
Redshirt junior from Valdosta, Georgia. He was actually high school teammates with Jaheim Bell,
yes,
the tight end who transferred in from South Carolina. So there's a little connection there.
Absolutely.
Rodemaker looking downfield for Daniel again. This one a little too much incomplete. As we go back downstairs to check in again with Pete Thamel.
Yeah, Sam, I think one of the reoccurring themes we're going to have this afternoon is the depth of Florida State in year 4 under Mike Norvell. It's interesting that we just came off the Miami spring game that EJ and I did last night, the Florida spring game. They had huge depth problems. This is like a fully baked cake here, and one example of that is the quarterback room. After Jordan Travis, you have Tate Rodemaker, who's proven himself in big games. Then you have A.J. Duffy, who's actually the highest recruited player in that quarterback room. And then there's a lot of buzz in the program about Brock Glenn, the early enrollee quarterback who came this fall, and there's high expectations for him. That's 4 high-end quarterbacks. Now, we can't guarantee no one's going to be in the portal by the end of the week, but it's just a sign of where Florida State is and how they're back. And we're going to talk about that, I think, at some other positions, Sam, later today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Pete. And Rodemaker showing it off there as he connects with Preston Daniel for a big gainer.
Yeah, an excellent throw. Now, that might have been a sack there, Sam, if I'm being honest. That was a live action, but nonetheless, a really strong throw by Tate Rodemaker. And I'm happy to see tight end Preston Daniel get some burn vertically down the field, because a lot of last season, it seemed like he was used to block kind of a package tight end, not really that vertical threat, but it definitely seems like this year they're going to use him in the pass game. Love to see it.
Daniel, one of many tight ends returning. They picked up Jaheim Bell from South Carolina, Kyle Morlock from Shorter, Division II transfer. Just about the depth that Pete was talking about. It seems like every room that FSU has multiple options.
Yeah, and that's what you want. You don't want to have the backups be inexperienced. And a lot of times when you have great players like Jordan Travis, you have great players on the defensive side like Fabian Lovett, Jared Verse, Shaheem Brown, some of these returners, Akeem Dent. You still want your backups to be ready to go, because, again, this is football. It's an imperfect sport. It's 100% injury rate. Somebody's going to go down, so you're always one play away as a backup to go out there and still help your team win.
Well, you think about how far this program has come under Mike Norvell. When he got here, they had the youngest team in the entire country. 75% of the roster in his first year in 2020 were underclassmen. As Rodemaker connects in the end zone, it's Rodney Hill who pulls in the first touchdown of the day.
And now that's 2 catches by Rodney Hill. The first one was out in the flat. And again, this is a really nicely designed play here by Coach Atkins, the offensive coordinator, getting that isolation on a running back with the linebacker and beats him by leverage. Excellently placed football by Tate Rodemaker. Really nice play right there, especially in the high red zone.
So first touchdown of the afternoon here in Tallahassee. Tate Rodemaker to Rodney Hill. And now Ryan Fitzgerald on for the extra point. And he connects. So 7-5 in favor of the Gold Squad here with 3:06 to go in the first quarter.
I like what I saw in that drive. Some really good takeaways. Again, the strong throw down the middle from Rodemaker. Get down here in the red zone, understanding the situation, seeing the pre-snap read. I guarantee you, on that type of wheel route, you want to see where that running back is in relation to that linebacker. As soon as that ball is snapped, if that running back has a step on that linebacker, it's a wrap. You put that ball in the air. Don't put too much air under it, because then a safety can come over. Excellent thrown ball by Rodemaker. Easy touchdown for Florida State. And right here, pre-snap, you're going to see it. Linebacker, he steps down. He's not hauling butt to the sideline. So Rodney Hill just runs right around him. Easy throw, easy catch. Just how you draw it up in practice. Beautiful way to cap off and, start off the day for Rodemaker. Solid drive.
Well, this FSU offense last season, EJ, so balanced. One of 2 teams in the entire country to average 270 yards per game passing and 210 yards a game on the ground. They led the ACC in total offense. They were scoring at a high clip, 36 points a game. That's what Mike Norvell has brought to this program, and with the weapons that they have this season, those numbers can only be maintained at worst. You got to think, right?
Yeah, and of all the stats offensively that are amazing to see, it's the third down efficiency stat for me. 51% conversion percentage on third down. 40% is considered excellent. So 50% converting a third down in football, that's saying a lot. So again, these guys are executing at a high clip. The quarterbacks know where to go with the football, and the offensive line is obviously providing protection so they can get that ball off.
Jordan Travis back into the game. A little flip for Trey Benson. And he moves forward. They'll give him first down yardage out to about the 37. Benson coming back after a huge 2022 in which he led the ACC with 6 yards per carry.
And that's a situation where their number 11, Patrick Payton, is trying to keep contained, but kind of takes the cheese, stays at the running back, then goes to the quarterback. Quarterback just displaces him and throws right to the running back. Nice little chunk gain.
Travis hits his man over the middle. That's Kentron Portier, who the coaching staff thinks is poised to be this year's breakout player at receiver.
Yeah, Sam, and I'm buying that. When I watched Portier last year, he made a couple flashes. I remember specifically, I was in that end zone to our right. And he caught a touchdown pass versus Boston College right in the breadbasket. So you imagine the confidence that he built in the 2022 season, also seeing the success of his fellow receiver, Johnny Wilson. Now he's going to start making some hay himself.
Hand off to Lawrence Toafili. Yeah, Portier, just the type of player that he has become. One of the homegrown guys. Alex Atkins described him like that. Offensive coordinator for FSU. Look at what he did last year. 14 for 283, 4 touchdowns. He's a guy who was kind of under-recruited in the first signing class that Mike Norvell had. And now he's got a chance to step up in 2023 and be one of the guys in the receiver room.
Yeah, played in 13 games last year. And even in high school, he was also an excellent basketball player, Sam. Averaged 14 points a game. That ain't bad for a shooting guard, but I tell you, the area where he's grown the most, it really just his confidence in his route running. He knows how to break off press. He knows what to do to get into windows versus zone. A really solid receiver, and that's what you want when a guy's a redshirt junior. You want him to be experienced. You want him to kind of be that go-to guy when things break down for Jordan Travis.
Lawrence Toafili.
Offense, number 70. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Second down.
That run for Toafili coming back with a holding penalty. You look at the rest of the receiver room, though. Johnny Wilson, obviously a big year last season, transferring in from ASU. You get him back. You think he could maybe be one of the best targets in this conference? He could be one of the top guys in the ACC at receiver.
Absolutely, a 6'7" receiver that has the agility of a guy that's maybe 6 foot or 6'1". And Johnny Wilson just got better and better as the year went on. My counterpart and good friend Eddie Royal is a huge fan of Johnny Wilson, and Eddie knows it best because he played NFL in a long time at the receiver position, made a lot of money in that league, and he says Johnny can get it done. So I'm expecting another big year from JW.
Second down, 19. Travis aired it out, looking for Campbell, but knocked away there. It'll be third down at 19.
Really good defensive play there by the linebacker here, too. Another wheel route, and really just trying to work the running back on the sideline. I like the placement of the throw by Jordan Travis. But the linebacker again, Omar Graham, that guy, his name keeps coming up, doing an excellent job in pass coverage. And that linebacker is not just about stopping the run, especially in today's football. You gotta be able to cover running backs, cover tight ends. Really good job by him out on the edge.
Third down at 19, second series of the day for Jordan Travis. And he checks it underneath. There's our first look at Winston Wright, the intended target. Player who's been a great story for FSU, the transfer from West Virginia. Unfortunately didn't play last season with a leg injury. And we'll have some more on that later with Pete Thamel downstairs, but he has come back a 1.5-year long journey, and he'll be fit to go by the time the fall rolls around.
Yeah, a West Virginia transfer in 2022. And again, like you mentioned, didn't get a chance to play because of the injury, but coaches just raved about this young man and are really rooting for him to get back and have some success. Because again, once he has that success, it's only going to add to his confidence on his injury, and he's going to be able to help this team.
More on that story. Let's check in again with Pete.
Winston Wright came over from West Virginia a year ago, got in a car accident in March and broke his leg. He's been a very productive guy prior to coming here and really hasn't played a meaningful snap because of the injury. His comeback from the injury is where he's resonated in this program. The coaches said that he's been an inspiration, and I do think if he has some big plays today, guys, we're going to see this sideline erupt.
Absolutely. Thank you, Pete. West Virginia transfer was put in the work on an extensive rehab process after his leg injury last spring. And he could be a big-time player. 688 yards, 5 touchdowns for West Virginia in 2021. A.J. Duffy in at quarterback. And a run play up the middle for a few.
And this is a really good opportunity to see some of these younger offensive linemen at the left tackle from Miami, Julian Armella, good friends with his uncle, Zeus Hernandez, also a legacy here at Florida State. His pops also played here. Father Enzo played nose guard at Florida State in 1991. One of those 5-star players that FSU was able to get last year's recruiting class, expecting a big year for him too.
Duffy's pass incomplete, looking for Hakeem Williams, a 5-star true freshman receiver. Clock has expired here on the first quarter, but of course, they're going to basically play by their own rules here in the spring game. Coach Norvell making sure that get all the reps. This is practice number 14 of 15. They got one more on Monday.
And in this situation, toward the end of a drill, especially on 3rd and 7, you don't want to force a football here. You still want to make a solid decision. If it's not there, you can always throw it away. Or take off and run. I like that.
Duffy, who lost his shoe.
Ran out of shoes, Sam.
Flat tire for A.J. Duffy on the scramble.
And I like this pocket present. Move up, move up, move up in the pocket. Nothing's there. Break out and run. And look, that's a realistic play. Nobody on the defensive line got a hand on him, so that would have been a potential break there for a first down. Great job by the young quarterback, A.J. Duffy.
First down and 10 from the 38. And Duffy hits his check down to the flat. C.J. Campbell written out of bounds. Steven Dix on the tackle at linebacker. A gain of 6.
Another good read here by Duffy. Moving up in the pocket. You see the pressure coming out wide. And I'm telling you, it's almost so hard for some quarterbacks to not get enamored with throwing the deep ball or forcing the ball in there. That check down is always open. Keep feeding those running backs. It's really good to see these quarterbacks using all of their progressions and giving guys a chance to make plays. Got a sack?
First sack of the game, and it's Dante Anderson.
Once again, also teammates with Daniel Lyons, coming out of Homestead High School in Miami, Florida. Pretty much coming unblocked. Got to get a hand on that young man. This is a guy that this defense is expecting to really make that jump as he's coming into his redshirt freshman year. Another one of those young players that Coach Norvell and his staff were able to bring in from South Florida. It's going to be a big year for 9-6.
Well, we talked a little bit about the offensive line depth. The defensive line has a lot of depth as well.
Yeah, especially at the end position.
Oh! Highlight reel.
Come on.
Hauled in. KP88, Kentron Portier, extended for the grab.
And they said it during this week. Expect 88 to have a breakout season. When you make catches like that, kind of remind you of the 88 that comes to mind for me, Michael Irvin. I mean, that was a big-time grab right there, and you bail your quarterback out, especially in that situation, late in the down. Love to see that.
29-yard pickup as Duffy just throws it away. How about that catch from Kentron Portier?
I'm telling you, those are the type of catches that you're going to see this fall. And it's not just about Johnny Wilson. It's not just about Jaheim Bell. Kentron Portier inserting himself as a big-time threat out wide for Florida State Seminoles.
You know, Alex Atkins was just raving about him earlier in the week. talking about how, yes, they brought in a lot of transfer talent, but he was a guy who's been here and has worked his way up.
And that's really the way you do it. And you love to see players like that, Sam, that then get rewarded with opportunity. Because a lot of guys, especially with the transfer portal age, if it's not working for them in the first 2 years, they usually head out and leave. But Portier is a guy that's just been continue to be resilient, putting in that work and doing a really good job. I like this play here, too. Flipping that ball out to C.J. Campbell out on the edge, making those defenders come out and make a tackle.
Campbell gets the inside give, a couple inside the 20 here. Not a bad little drive here for A.J. Duffy in the offense. Tate Rodemaker threw a touchdown earlier to Rodney Hill. And now it's A.J. Duffy who's leading a nice series inside to the red area.
A nice series here. And now I'm putting the onus on the defense to get a stop here. It's inside the 20-yard line. You just had Steven Dix Jr. come up with a huge tackle. And he wasn't able to play in 2022 because of injury. But I think I saw on Instagram he squatted about 800 pounds, it looked like. Maybe it was 600 in reality. But that's a strong young man, and he just had a nice tackle there right up the gap.
Handoff Rodney Hill. Not much, getting back to the original line of scrimmage. I saw that squat video too.
Ooh, yes, sir.
Definitely over 600. Little Jalen Hurts-esque right there.
Absolutely, yeah. How about that? Jalen Hurts, Super Bowl quarterback, can squat over 600 pounds. I think he was a weightlifter, or Olympic weightlifter in high school, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, back in the high school days, I believe.
Pretty impressive. I love these situations here, especially in the spring game format. Red zone opportunity. Defense has to make a stop. Offense gets some points. Let's see who breaks here.
3rd down and 7 from the 18. Hakeem Williams, the motion man.
Tight split.
And Duffy's going to flip it forward. And it's caught by the true freshman,
Nice.
Vandravius Jacobs.
Nice.
So that'll move the sticks.
It's a savvy play by a young quarterback, A.J. Duffy, just moving up in the pocket. And really didn't even throw it. Almost kind of shot put it there for the first down. Nice little flip. I like plays like that.
1st and goal from the 10.
Flat, flat.
Nobody home. Duffy going to take off himself. And the officials are going to mark him out at the 1.
Obviously, the flat was open there because you had a running back, as I called, for potential a throw out to the flat. But A.J. Duffy just taking it in himself, getting a chance to get to the edge. Big 91, pushing him to the sideline. That's Ayobami Tafase. Gotta make sure I say that right.
Nailed it. Redshirt freshman from Baltimore.
Yes, sir. He can run, too. It's nice.
Let's see if Duffy can finish off this drive here. A play fake to Winston Wright. And a throw into the end zone.
A tad late there, Sam. And as soon as he came out of that fake, you have the flat, and then you also have a corner. So it really puts stress on the cornerback here. Make that fake on the jet sweep. You got to snap your head around and just get your hips ready to throw. Tight end was open before that. So it's hard. He's clapping his hands. He'll learn from that one. But definitely on those rollouts, especially down in the red zone, things happen a lot faster. Once you get within the 10-yard line, you got to be ready to get that ball out your hands.
3rd down and goal. And no signal quite yet from the officials. Now we got a touchdown. Rodney Hill into the end zone again for the 2nd time.
And I'm calling that a touchdown for the offensive line. I know Rodney Hill ran it in. But watch the press up middle. 64, 73, 75. Everybody holding their point. Even 89 doing a really good job. Jarrell Powers, tight end from Fort Worth, Texas, holding the point here at the goal line to allow Rodney Hill to get in for another touchdown.
There's Powers. Here's Tyler Keltner on for the extra point. And the ETSU transfer knocks it through. 14-5, the gold on top of the garnet. More spring game action from Tallahassee after this. A very special guest down on the sidelines with our Pete Thamel, the Heisman Trophy winner Charlie Ward standing by with Pete.
That's right, Sam. If we listed off all of Charlie Ward's accomplishments here, it would take up half the interview. But obviously, Heisman Trophy winner, national champion, and today the coach in the grand finale. Charlie, before we get to your play sheet, which I see down here, not a lot of run plays on there, EJ, as you can imagine. Just talk a little bit, if you don't mind, Charlie, about where the Seminole program is right now, and is it energizing for you to see it back in the top 10, back in the national championship conversation?
Well, most definitely. It's something that we are starting to see where the competition is not on the opponent's side, but it's in practice. And so that's what we were used to and accustomed to when we were here. Our best defense, going against the best defense, was every day in practice. So this is another example of our guys doing the same thing, and Coach Norville and his staff doing a great job recruiting and bringing in the right players to be able to compete in practice.
As a former quarterback, I'm curious how you'd evaluate Jordan Travis. He's obviously developed a lot while he's here. He can really scoot with his legs like you did when you were a Seminole. What have you thought of his career and how he's developed?
Well, experience does help, and being in the same system for a few years does help. Hearing the same voices does help, and he has great talent, so he'll be great this year. It's what all great teams need, is a great leader at quarterback, and I think we have that.
All right, what can we expect in the grand finale? You and your fellow national champions from 1993 are going to square off against the 2013 champions versus the Williamses, who will be coaching. Can you give us a little sneak peek without giving away the game plan on what we can expect?
Well, as a coach, you're only as good as your players. And so it depends on who we can get football to. Of course, the offensive line needs to block, but I'm going to call a play and let the players execute it.
Should we get EJ Manuel down from the booth for one last throw?
Well, I heard EJ rubbed it in a little bit. He had no mercy. He had the Coach Bowden effect where he was winning and continued to pass the football. So I may not do that if we were winning, but I'm going to enjoy the moment.
No mercy from EJ. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Pete. Charlie Ward, Heisman Trophy winner.
Yes, sir.
Keys to the game there in the grand finale. He's going to let it fly.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And last year I had the chance to be a guest coach, similar to Coach Ward, or I say Coach Ward, which he is a coach, state champion basketball team, but also had the chance to coach against Danny Cannell, Peter Boulware, and Brian McFadden was my defensive coordinator, and I absolutely kept throwing the ball. I mean, that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm a quarterback, and I had Tate Rodemaker. I think I had another walk-on quarterback, and the guys did a really good job of taking care of me with the play calls, and it was a ton of fun. So I know these guys are excited for the opportunity.
That'll be in the grand finale after we wrap up the second and third quarters here of the spring game here at FSU. Sam Niederman, EJ Manuel, Pete Thamel down on the sidelines. Let's take a look at what FSU will play next year. This is the 2023 schedule, and it all starts with the blockbuster opener, a rematch against LSU, this time in Orlando.
Sam, you love to have a rematch with these two teams. And I almost wish it was at LSU, or I wish it was here in Tallahassee, but nonetheless, it's going to be in Orlando. Get this Florida State team off the bat having a chance to play a top 10 opponent. And look, both of these teams will probably be in the top 10 as far as preseason rankings. So whoever wins that game, putting themselves in position to get a chance to get to that CFP.
Then you got Clemson week 4.
A huge game on the road. And I wouldn't even surpass that Boston College matchup. BC is going to be much improved. Coach Hafley is definitely going to have more playmakers on that team, new quarterback, Emmett Moorhead. We had a solid finish to last season once Phil Jacoby went out with some injuries. So it's going to be a tough slate here for this Florida State team, but that's why you build the depth. That's why you do a really good job in recruiting, to make sure that you have players that can be called on, can help you win ball games.
Jordan Travis is back in. This is his third series. Gold team currently up 14-0 on the Garnet team as we begin the second quarter. Travis, obviously a Heisman candidate going into next season. 3 previous Heisman Trophy winners here at FSU. We just spoke with one of them in Charlie Ward, Chris Winkie and Jameis Winston, the other 2. And you look at the season that Travis had last year, one of only 4 players to account for over 3,000 total yards and 30 total touchdowns in a season. The other 3 that did it won the Heisman Trophy, those 3 aforementioned players. So he is in good company as he approaches his final season.
Yeah, no question. And Jordan is, again, just continued to grow. Last year, 2nd team All-ACC. But he was the highest rated quarterback in FBS by PFF. That's Pro Football Focus. So I'm telling you, this young man is primed to have a Heisman-like type season, and not only because of his play, but also because what he has around him on defense and on offense.
Last year, he had a couple of I'm him moments as he takes this scramble here. Remember the Florida game, big shootout here at Doak Campbell Stadium. That scramble down to the goal line, able to evade multiple Gators and make the highlight play. He was excellent in that game, set a bowl record against Oklahoma with 468 total yards.
Good ball.
Connects over the middle. There's Jaheim Bell. First time we've seen him today, the South Carolina transfer.
Yeah, a really nice catch across the middle. Jaheim Bell coming in at 6'3", 240 pounds. Finds the open hole in the zone, settles down a little bit so Jordan Travis can hit him between the 6. I'm telling you, that connection this season is going to be something dangerous to watch, because not only can Jaheim Bell catch it from the backfield, from the tight end position, but also can get in the backfield and run the ball as well.
He came over from South Carolina as a highly touted transfer. Everybody wanted him, similar to kind of what we were saying with Jared Verse. And Mike Norvell's got a Swiss Army knife in Jaheim Bell. That young man's certainly ready to make an impact. Coming back home to the state of Florida, Lake City native.
And Sam, I'm a nickname guy. So I was thinking about Jaheim Bell. I was watching some highlights. Give him a nickname of Weapon J, or maybe Weapon JB, because literally that's what he is. South Carolina used him against Tennessee, against some of the big-time matchups they had in SEC. They really relied on him. Oh, good throw.
Portier. Wow. Again.
Portier.
A touchdown for Kentron Portier.
What a throw by Jordan Travis, too. He was in great phase. The offensive line did an excellent job of providing protection, where he had about 2.5 seconds to assess it, pitch up once in the pocket, perfect spot of the football. And look, 39, he already knew. Once that ball was in the air, he had no chance to get it. That's Jaden Floyd out of Winter Garden, Florida. He's had a great day as well. As also his father is William Floyd, FSU Hall of Famer, first-round pick for the San Francisco 49ers. But nonetheless, a really solid throw there by Jordan Travis. An excellent read, and Portier just continues to show up today.
Extra point is good from Ryan Fitzgerald. How about Kentron Portier making all the plays? His first touchdown catch of the game. First touchdown pass from Travis.
Once again, hitches up once. Doesn't double hitch, because if he double hitches, then he might run himself out of real estate, but gets it out and at a spot where any good DB, and I don't care who it is, he has no chance to get that hand on that football. Excellent throw by QB1.
A look at some of the ranks for Travis last season. 9 yards per pass attempt, 4th in the country, 14 yards per completion, 7th in the country. You're talking about a Florida State offense, EJ, that was one of the best teams in the country in terms of explosive plays. They averaged 7 explosives a game, an explosive play being 20 yards or more. They're expecting more of the same here in 2023.
And so much of the attention goes to the running backs or the receivers, the tight ends or the quarterback. But a lot of that is because of this offensive line. And when we talked to O-line coach and OC, Alex Atkins, he said the fact that his O-line has been together for so long, Robert Scott, Maurice Smith, Casey Roddick, he's a 5th-year senior, Keandre Jones, all these players have been able to mesh. And they're grown men. They're not 18, 19 years old guys. Now they're bringing along the Julian Armellas, the young fellas that are going to be the future. But I'm telling you, that offensive line is a huge key to those explosive plays.
Well, look at this for the offensive line for Florida State coming into this fall. This is the amount of career starts that the Seminoles have coming in. 207 combined starts from their top 8 guys in the rotation. That is a ton of starts for Alex Atkins to mix and match with.
A ton of starts, and you see Bless Harris at the bottom with 1, but that's because he missed last year with an injury. So this is a Florida State offensive line that knows what they're doing. The communication is great, and they expect to be great. And I'm telling you, they pride themselves. When those running backs get those big gashing runs, a lot of it has to do with those big uglies up front.
It has certainly been an overhaul up front for the Seminoles. And for more on that, let's go back down to Pete.
Where the Florida State offensive line has come from in 2018 under Willie Taggart, it was the single worst offensive line in all of college football. And right now, it may be one of the deepest. You obviously mentioned the 207 FBS starts in that group. How about this stat? 13,527 snaps.
5-yard penalty.
That's a lot of snaps. And when you think about a unit that was raw, I'm sure EJ remembers specific games where true freshmen were thrown out there. They weren't ready. They had tough times. It's also a calloused group. They've been pushed around a little bit. They've gotten better each year. And it's no coincidence that Jordan Travis has grown and developed, because that line has grown and developed in front of him. So credit Alex Atkins, the offensive coordinator who doubles as the offensive line coach. He has built it slowly, methodically, and intentionally. And I think they're going to be a group that contends for the Joe Moore Award this year.
Thank you, Pete. It might be one of the best units in the country in terms of offensive line, and it has come a long way for sure.
A long way. And in our discussion with Coach Atkins preparing for this game, he talked about that and said, look, they took some games on the chin, losing to Jacksonville State, losing to Clemson, not getting a chance to go to a bowl game. And these young men just kept putting in the work, kept fighting, kept trying to understand the why behind what they're trying to do as an offense. And Coach Atkins just said, again, it's not about just talent acquisition. It's also about guys that want to buy in and be willing to be coached. And we're now seeing the benefit of those players.
Alex Atkins in his 4th season on staff here with Mike Norvell at FSU. Was the offensive coordinator at Charlotte in 2019. Brock Glenn is in at quarterback right now, the true freshman from Covington, Tennessee. He's a mid-year enrollee.
Be good to see the young man get some reps. Now, this is a player that technically should still be in high school, Sam, but hey, early enrollee out of Tennessee, wants to get his feet wet here. Try to see this offensive line, and it's tough going against the first-team defense here. Jared Verse coming off the edge.
Let's go back downstairs. Pete is standing by with Jordan Travis.
Yeah, guys, here with Jordan Travis. Mike Norvell told us earlier today, Jordan, that you've been the most improved player on the roster this spring. You obviously came in with a lot of starts, a lot of yards, a lot of experience. What specifically this spring did you improve on?
I feel like I improved on everything. I mean, leadership is always a big thing for me. Going into my 5th year at Florida State, I mean, it's time for me to step up and play that leadership role for all the younger guys like Brock, AJ, Tate. Just watching the team grow every day is really awesome.
Jordan's been around so long, guys. He played for Bobby Petrino at Louisville during his first season of college, but now, more importantly, he's been here in his 4th year in the same system. Describe to us your comfort level with what Coach Norvell does.
I'm so comfortable with this offense. Coach Norvell trusts me so much, and I respect that. He lets me go out there and play my game. He's a great coach, and obviously we have great players all over the field, so I have an easy job to drop back and get the receivers a chance, and the offensive line is improving every day.
The talent has grown around you. Kenny Dillingham told me this week your start against Syracuse when you came back and won here in 2021 was a turning point for you. Describe to me the growth of the program. We just spoke about the offensive line and how they've grown and developed. Has it been fun to watch the whole roster grow up?
Yes, sir. I love it so much. I mean, being an older guy now and just watching the younger guys and the people that they grow up into, I always talk about the person before the player. We have special guys all over this roster. Great coaches, great fans. We're so blessed to be here.
Well, there's great expectations always at Florida State, but I would say they're the biggest in your career here this year, Jordan. What can this program do in 2023?
We can do a lot. We're going to take it day by day, focus on the play in front of us, the game in front of us, and
the smile, I think, there said more than the words, guys. Back to you, Sam and EJ.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Pete. You look at Jordan Travis, EJ, for this season, the improvements that he just talked about there. How has he refined his game in your eyes as he moves into this season?
Jordan, again, has grown so much, and a lot of it starts in the mind because he started playing faster than his teammates at times last season, trying to make sure the tight ends were coming out of their breaks. He was throwing the ball with perfect timing and pace. But Coach Norvell talked about it. Look, hitting the check down is a positive play. And some quarterbacks that have their athletic ability, they want to pull the ball down, take off and run. But Jordan Travis knows he can stay in the pocket, be accurate with his decision-making, and also be accurate with his throws. And Coach also said it starts with his feet. his rhythm. And you saw it there in that touchdown pass to Portis down here in the red zone. His feet were in tune. He hitched up once, saw it, ripped it, easy touchdown for JT.
You've been here when this program has been at its best, and it looks like it's coming back to that point. As the quarterback, the vibe around campus, what's that like when this program is rolling, and what Jordan will likely experience this year?
It's a special place, and Tallahassee is a city where, of course, it's the capital of Florida. But when Florida State's playing great football, everybody is buzzing. Everybody's excited, whether you're at the hotel, you're at a restaurant, you're on campus trying to get to class. It's just a great town to be in, and the home, the love here. And every time I come back, it's just almost like a family reunion for me. Seeing people that I knew when I was 18, 19 years old that are still here working for the team, just a great feeling and a great place to be, especially when you're winning.
Your first game here on a live broadcast back here, partner, as well here at FSU.
Yep, absolutely, and it's crazy because I think back on it, this was when Coach Bowden was still the head coach. My first start was against Wake Forest. My first home game was against Maryland. This was 2009, and young E.J. Manuel getting an opportunity to go out there and try to win for the Noles, and we were able to deliver that year. That was my redshirt freshman year. Good run. See, and again, the offensive line, look at the blocking downfield. And so many people are going to look at the running back, that Lawrence Toafili running it in for a touchdown, which is a great run, but he was untouched. So when you have an offensive line that's really able to get the leverage, look at all the helmets right here. Everybody leverage, 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 leverage. Julian Armella, number 72, closing the edge there where defense has no chance. And then you see receiver Kentron Portier once again. Not only does he make catches, but blocking down the field. That's huge, huge, great play right there by this Florida State offense. And we talked about those explosive plays. It's not just the backs, which they are special. It's also the 10 guys around them that can block and hold up people on defense.
Another effective series for the Gold Squad, which, by the way, is just the offense. They're continuing to rack it up. Lawrence Toafili with the big run. Get another look.
Yep, absolutely. A good decision there by the quarterback to give it to Toafili on the stretch run. Defense really just not having a chance to get out wide. Receivers, tight ends, tackles, everybody closing the edge. Nice, easy run for a running back. And granted, I didn't run a lot of touchdowns in, but I do remember running that stretch. And when you saw that big green grass, you couldn't do nothing but smile and know you got a chance to run a touchdown in there, make your parents proud.
Now, we've talked about it a little bit in the lead up before the game, EJ. The run game is central to what FSU does, especially with Alex Atkins and Mike Norvell. The balance, we mentioned it earlier, but this is a team that ran for 200 yards in 6 or 7 consecutive games last season. That is a high mark.
Yeah, first in the ACC, averaging 214 yards a game. And then the cool part about it is they might rush for 214 yards, but then the defense is also holding opposing offenses from running the ball. So the team, what that tells me is complementary football. One side is doing their job, the other side is doing their job, and that's how it equals 10 wins and potentially now getting this team over that hump, potentially can compete for an ACC title.
Look at the running back room. You've got a really good 1-2 punch there with Benson and Toafili. Benson, your big feature back, 215-pounder. But then Toafili, we just saw him run it. He also makes plays in the passing game, too.
Yeah, Toafili is one of those dangerous players that he can match up with the linebacker, and he's always a mismatch because he has the speed. He also can do a great job in running interior routes. But the coaches have been high on Rodney Hill, and for good reason. Based off his performance thus far today, he's done a great job, not just in running or catching the ball. I've also noticed him put his nose in there in protection for the quarterback so he can have a chance to throw the ball down the field when some of those linebackers come in for pressure.
Brock Glenn working the offense here late in the second quarter of this FSU spring game. Sam Niederman along with E.J. Manuel, Pete Thamel down on the sidelines. We've been here in Tallahassee for a little bit. I was at practice on Thursday. You can sense the vibe. You can sense the buzz. You can sense a culture that's been established under Coach Norvell now with 3 years under his belt heading into year 4 here.
Yeah, the culture has certainly changed. A lot of it has to do with the players that Coach Norvell has been able to keep at Florida State. You mentioned Jared Verse deciding to come back. Fabian Lovett decides to come back. But also bringing in 5-star talent like Hakeem Williams, Vandrevius Jacobs, number 19, another receiver out of Fort Pierce, Florida, being able to get in A.J. Duffy. And sure, he's not the starter right now, but you still got to have a future here for this football program. So it's really nice to see Florida State back in contention nationally because it's a national brand. And I said this about Miami last night. I called their spring game. When Miami's good, it's great for college football. And when Florida State is good, it's also great for college football and obviously the state of Florida.
Noles are trying to potentially win their first ACC title since 2014. That was the first year of the college football playoff after FSU won the national championship with Jameis in 2013. It's been a minute since they've been back on top of this conference, and they'll have a chance right up there with the best of them this year to potentially be the top dog.
Yeah, Florida State, we had the chance to win that, and I say we because we won that ACC title in 2012. Jameis and his crew won in 13 or 14. So the standard is the standard. And even before we were here as players, the Charlie Wards, the Chris Winkies, the Peter Warwicks, the Deion Sanders, the Leonard, like so many great players that came before us. And there is a chip on your shoulder when you put that helmet on because you want to make those guys proud. When you see them come back to games, whether it's the spring game or during the fall, you want those guys to show you love and know that they're proud of it.
Well, no doubt that Florida State has taken control here of the state of Florida after sweeping and becoming the state champions last year. They beat UF, they beat Miami. And for a little update on how these three programs have performed throughout the spring, let's go back downstairs to Pete.
Yeah, Sam, I was lucky enough to do sideline in Gainesville on Thursday for the Florida spring game. EJ and I worked the Miami game last night, and I'm obviously here this afternoon. It gave me some great insight into sort of a state of the union, if you will, down here in Florida. And it's clear when you study these three rosters that Florida State is just simply ahead. They are a fully baked cake, if you will, and Miami's still adding ingredients, and Florida still is adding ingredients. And again, we don't want to harp on the word depth too much because it's not exactly as fun as talking about, go routes, if you will. But that's really why Florida State is ahead of where they are, and it's why I think they can go compete with the SEC, why they competed with LSU last year, why I think they'll be favored against LSU in the opener this year. Florida State is a full program in year 4 under Mike Norvell. The offensive line depth we spoke about, the defensive line depth we've touched on a little bit. But even if you look at the receivers, you look at Portier and how he's broken out today. He only had 260 yards receiving last year. They have guys all over the field, up and down the roster, and Mike Norvell has taken some time, and it's been slow growth, but it's continued, and we can only expect it to keep going this year.
Thank you, Pete. FSU with that momentum, they won 6 consecutive to end last season, including the Cheez-It Bowl over Oklahoma. And right now, they're in good shape in comparison to UF and Miami. You look at those two programs, year 2 head coaches, Billy Napier, Mario Cristobal. Right now, the Noles, the state champs, and looking to keep that going into 23.
Yeah, and that's something that's extremely important for this staff and for this team. Winning the state of Florida, because it is truly an arms race to see who can get the best recruits out of the state. At the end of the day, these top 5-star, 4-star players, even some of the developmental 3-star players, they want to go to the team that's winning. And I remember when I was coming out of high school, granted I'm from Virginia, but Florida was really good at the time. They were able to get a lot of the homegrown talent. Even before that, Miami was great. And then of course, Florida State we've had our day here as well. But it's really just cool to see when all 3 of those teams are competitive. Because again, the state of Florida, with the enrichment of talent that's coming out of this state year in and year out, it's really good to see for college football on a national scale.
Right now, the Noles getting set for another series late in the second quarter. Take a look at what's going on in the ACC after we wrap up the spring here. Garrett Riley hired as the OC over at Clemson. He jumps over from TCU. Jeff Brom, a little homecoming, going back to his alma mater at Louisville. And of course, Drake May, a big Heisman candidate, along with Jordan Travis, the ACC Player of the Year down in North Carolina. Started Garrett Riley here at EJ. That is a big-time move for the Tigers down in Death Valley.
Yeah, a great hire by Coach Dabo Swinney and his staff. You look at the way TCU's offense was able to produce, and just having a quarterback that was a Heisman finalist in Max Duggan, potentially having a first-round pick at receiver in Quentin Johnston. And again, like I said, getting themselves the opportunity to play not only for a Big 12 title, but also in the CFP. So Garrett Riley coming there to Clemson is going to be a huge get. And also considering you have a new quarterback in Cade Klubnik now, he's true QB1 now that DJ Uiagalelei has headed west to Oregon State. So hopefully that young man will get a chance to grow with Coach Riley as well.
Tate Rodemaker back out there for FSU. Threw a touchdown earlier to Rodney Hill. So you got 2 Heisman candidate quarterbacks in the ACC this year, Jordan Travis and Drake May. Big-time representation for the conference.
Yeah, huge representation. And last year, we really called this the Conference of Quarterbacks. But this year, it's on a national scale. It's not just about the ACC anymore. It's about the entire country as far as these young men, Jordan Travis and Drake May, duking it out throughout the season. The beauty of it as well is the fact that there's no longer Coastal and Atlantic. A really good defensive play here by the defense of Florida State. That's number 10.
DJ Lundy.
DJ Lundy coming out of the linebacker position. And I like the fact that the running backs are really pressing these linebackers to force them to cover them down the field. But going back to my point about Travis and May, I mean, two excellent quarterbacks. And the reason you kind of give Travis the nod, granted, Drake May had a great first year as a freshman, threw for a bunch of yards, and probably will be a top 5 pick whenever he decides to go into the NFL draft. Just with the returning production on offense for Jordan Travis, the offensive line, the continuity of offensive coordinator, the defensive guys that he's going to have back that can also get the ball back for him with more opportunities. Might be somewhat of a little easier role for Jordan Travis, but nonetheless, Drake May is still going to have a chance to have a say in the Heisman conversation as well.
Of course, also for the ACC this year, no divisions, no more Atlantic and Coastal. It'll be the top 2 teams that go to the conference championship game, and that's a big thing.
It's a huge thing, something I felt like the ACC should have done a while ago. And you look at the layout, at times the Atlantic team was, whether it was Clemson, whether it was Florida State, one of those teams that was just having a really good year. NC State, whoever it was, getting a chance to get, ball's out, ball's out.
Kalen DeLoach.
DeLoach once again.
Another takeaway for DeLoach. He had the interception earlier, and this time he picks up the fumble.
And the cool part about this is a point of emphasis by defensive coordinator Coach Fuller. He said, look, we want to get takeaways. We want to get turnovers and give that football back to our offense. A really nice strip by DeLoach himself, and also gets rewarded with the football. It's crazy to think. DeLoach would have scored 2 touchdowns today, Sam. It's awesome play by the defender.
He got the strip himself and the recovery. One of the veterans in a linebacker room that you really like, EJ. You think it's improved.
Yeah, this linebacker room is extremely deep. Kalen DeLoach, like we just saw, 5th-year senior out of Savannah, Georgia, had a great year, 4 sacks, 65 tackles. But Tatum Bethune, the 5th-year senior as well out of Miami Central High School, 4.5 sacks, 9.5 tackles for loss. And also DJ Lundy, Brendan Gant, Stephen Dix, Omar Graham, as we mentioned earlier. It's a very, very deep room, at least 2 deep at every position. And they're going to be huge to add on the back end of that defensive line. That's going to put a lot of pressure on that quarterback.
All right, we're going to step aside here as we take one last look at that ACC scheduling model. Again, no divisions this year, top 2 in 2023. And I believe behind that banner there, out of the tunnel, they're going to debut these uniforms here for the first time in front of all of the teams. So it should be a pretty cool moment here, EJ, as we're going to get some new threads here for the Noles.
Yeah, you know, I'm always kind of an old school guy. I like the classic look, but nonetheless, considering this is going to be a very good Florida State team that's going to play in a lot of big-time matchups, I guess this new generation, they like cool, different combinations of uniforms and things like that. Now I sound like an old guy. Now, in all seriousness, this is going to be really exciting to see the unveiling of some new uniforms and see how they try to spice it up with some color combinations.
You got to respect the classics, man. Some special teams going on here. Let's also take a look at the new facility that they're building here for Florida State. They broke ground on this in December, 18 to 24 months. This is a look at the rendering here. Beautiful facility for FSU football that's going to have all kinds of great amenities, locker room, cold tub, you name it. This place is going to take the program to the next level. So Coach Norvell and the Seminoles will have the new unis when we come back from break after this. After these drills and this anticipated uniform reveal that we're going to get here in a little bit, some new threads for the Noles are going to be debuted here in a second. Sam Niederman along with EJ Manuel and Pete Thamel. Let's take a look at some ACC quarterbacks who have found some new homes in the offseason. Plenty of talent moving around, starting with Sam Hartman, who goes from Wake to Notre Dame.
Yeah, Sam Hartman getting the opportunity to get into the transfer portal. I felt like he made a really good decision to stay in college. And sure, I know the Demon Deacon faithful probably wanted him to stay there to continue his career in college. But I felt like Sam probably did everything he could up until that point. get a new location there in South Bend, play on that national stage. Also, Brennan Armstrong leaving UVA, headed to NC State to reunite with his old offensive coordinator, Robert Anai. Same thing for Phil Dracovic leaving BC, headed to Pitt. And also Devin Leary at Kentucky, headed to the SEC. It's going to be interesting to see how he can finish off his career. Coming into last season, it's supposed to be a high draft pick. So this is going to be huge for him to have a really good mesh with that coordinator and try to be a high pick like Will Levis, who's leaving Kentucky.
Absolutely. DJU also going from Clemson to Oregon State all the way out west.
Yep.
And now it looks like the Noles are debuting their new uniforms here at Doak Campbell Stadium. A little presentation on the big video board. All right, the first look at Florida State's new uniforms for 2023. And just from seeing that little shot right there, EJ, looking pretty fresh.
Yeah, that's pretty clean right there. Got the icy whites on the left. Got the new look, garnet and gold. Still paying homage to the classics. A nice spin on it. I like the fact that they're both wearing 55. Old teammate Jacoby McDaniel wore 5'5". Marvin Jones wore 5'5". Big time stuff there. Now the thing here, Sam, I'm gonna do a little analysis. The visor game is crazy.
I was gonna say, an amber visor.
The
it's hard to
visor
beat
game
that, man.
is crazy. And I don't know who we gotta talk to, but maybe we can petition to let some of these players get that cool looking visor, man. Like that used to be a big deal. You go on Oakley.com back in the day, young kid,
Yeah.
couldn't afford the visor because it was like 75 bucks. Kind of settled with not an Oakley. Nonetheless, man, this is a really nice uniform there, paying homage to the Seminole Tribe as well.
I love it, man. There's nothing better than an amber visor. Little icy whites right there. And then the garnet tops on gold pants. Paying tribute to the classics. This is one of the few programs that'll be using the Nike Vapor Fuse uniform that combines lightweight fabric technology with a precision fit that helps for ultimate performance on the field. They'll have some replicas of these jerseys expected to be available in retail closer to the start of the fall season. So if you're interested in rocking the look, then there you go. Get a chance to get involved. Nice tribal pattern there around the collar, around the shoulders. I got to tell you, man, that all white, it's hard to beat an all white uniform too.
Yeah, and I tell you, it was hard to beat an all black. When I was here and I was young, we had an all black jersey too that was sick. So I don't know if they'll bring that one back as well. But again, I think the fans appreciate that garnet and gold more. It's just, when you see it, you think Florida State. Even if you see other teams that have garnet and gold, I won't say the San Francisco 49ers because they're their own different vibe. But nonetheless, when I see garnet and gold, I automatically think Florida State. Really cool to see this being unveiled today.
Well, some new threads here for the Seminoles unveiled. Let's step aside. We'll have the third quarter here in the spring game for Florida State after this. Third quarter underway here at Doak Campbell Stadium in the FSU Spring Game. Tate Rodemaker back on the field for the Noles. Sam Niederman and EJ Manuel here with you in the booth. Pete Thamel down on the sidelines. And EJ, we've talked about the defensive front, the linebacking core for FSU, but also the defensive backfield. This is a team that has started some young players over the last couple of years who are now back for their junior or sophomore seasons, and that's going to translate to more experience come the fall.
Yeah, no question. Out here right now, you have a corner, top transfer portal player, Fentrell Cypress, 23, at the top of your screen, and then number 20 here at the bottom, Azarie Thomas out of Niceville, Florida. Also Shaheem Brown. When you think about the DBs from Florida State, somebody's going to have to replace that production from Jamie Robinson. He was an excellent player, all-conference type player, who's now going to get drafted to the NFL. So somebody's going to be called on. I think it's going to be Shaheem Brown, who's going to get more of that responsibility to be a similar type of player. You definitely want to hit on Fentrell Cypress here and see what he can continue to do.
He was a big-time get out of the portal from UVA. Last year, he led the country with 14 pass breakups.
Yeah, and really a player that you watched, always having a chance to get a hand on the football. Recovery speed was excellent on deep balls, always played through the play. And what I mean by that is sometimes DBs will give up on a play. If a guy does a double move or it doesn't look like the ball's being thrown to his receiver, they'll kind of slough off. But Fentrell Cypress just kind of plays through the play. You love to see that, and also plays through the hands. A lot of DBs, you know, sometimes try to play the ball, and instead he's just going to play your hands. He's going to watch you and watch your eyes as a receiver. And as soon as you get those eyes big, that means that ball is coming, and he's swiping through those hands to get a PBU.
We talked with Adam Fuller, the defensive coordinator, during the week. Said he's been a great influence in the locker room, academic. He's locked in everything he's done. And he has been as advertised.
Yeah.
That's what he told us verbatim, as advertised, as good as it gets coming out of the portal, coming over from Virginia.
Yeah, the top corner coming out of the portal this year. So another huge grab by this Florida State staff. And a player that I'm sure had a bunch of other options, but decided to come here to Tallahassee to help this team win the championship.
Not only did they get Cypress in the portal, also have Pat Surtain Sr., new DB's coach in his first year. He was hired in January, a big move for this coaching staff, EJ.
Yeah, and I asked Coach Adam Fuller, the defensive coordinator, about the hiring of Patrick Surtain Sr. He called it a home run hire, and not just because of his acumen as a coach. Yes, he played at a high level in the NFL, played for a very long time with the Dolphins and the Chiefs, but also the fact that he was a high school coach. So he can relate to these players. He understands what these young men are going. And what high school did he coach at? American Heritage in South Florida. So you think about the pipeline of some of those really talented players potentially now wanting to come to Florida State because their old head ball coach is here coaching the DBs.
Pat Surtain Sr., first year on the staff for Florida State as a DB's coach. His son, Pat Surtain Jr.,
All-Pro.
maybe the best corner in the NFL right now.
Yeah, some would say that. Maybe Jalen Ramsey, maybe the kid Diggs out of the Dallas Cowboys, but definitely in that conversation to be that young. Really, I mean, an excellent corner, was excellent in college, and obviously going to be an excellent pro, just like his dad.
Here's Hakeem Williams, a true freshman, five-star guy from Stranahan down in Fort Lauderdale. There's Pat Surtain Sr., the high school pedigree that EJ mentioned, 2020 National High School Coach of the Year at American Heritage. He comes over from the Dolphins. He was a defensive assistant for the Dolphins last year. And when we spoke with Coach Fuller, he said it was an interesting conversation getting him over. Was it going to be the right fit? Absolutely a perfect fit. And now here he is in his first year on the staff.
Yeah, excellent hire. And you can imagine if you're a DB, a top corner in the country or a top safety in the country, and Patrick Surtain Sr. walks into your living room, who's done it before, coached at a high level in college, obviously now, in high school and obviously now in college. It's very easy to listen and buy into that. You saw Miami has called their game yesterday, their spring game. They also hired Jason Taylor, so it's really cool to see some of these big-time pros come back and give back to these young players in college level.
Surtain Sr., 11-year pro. Dolphins and Chiefs to a Philly tiptoeing the sideline. This is an FSU team that is coming off of a season in which it was fourth in the country against the pass. They only allowed 165 yards a game through the air last year.
Yeah, and also +2 in the turnover margin. And what that means is Florida State got 2 more turnovers than they actually gave away. And that's a huge compliment to the offense, keeping the football, Jordan Travis limiting those interceptions. Ball carriers doing a great job of tucking it, not fumbling it, but also the defense coming up with some turnovers, which is going to be huge in this 2023 year to give that ball back to QB1 Jordan Travis.
Completion underneath. That'll be enough for a first down as Coach Norvell barks out. Take a look at what this defense did last season. #1 of the ACC against the pass. We were talking about this before the game, EJ. The sack percentage, 10%. That's a big-time number for that pass rush, second in the league.
Yeah, it's a huge number, and a lot of that has to go with the coaching. That's Odell Higgins. That's Coach Papuchis. These guys get these players ready to go. And look, Odell was here when I was here as a player. One of the guys that he's just like an OG. You know what I mean? Like, you just know that he's a Knoll and he cares about these young men beyond the actual football field, and that's why they go out there and run through a brick wall for these coaches.
Longest tenured assistant in all college football. 30 years with the program.
Yes, sir. Player
there he is.
and coach. That's right. Odell Higgins, man. Great, great family man, and truly just somebody, and I even still call him myself. I'm 33 years old now. I haven't played college football in a long time, but I'll still reach out to Coach Higgins to check in with him, ask him questions. Always been a great man, and I know a lot of my former teammates think about Anthony McLeod, Everett Dawkins, Eddie Goldman, Timmy Jernigan. All those young men were coached at a high level by Odell. And not only the football stuff, but also the things you take away off the field, like I mentioned.
He has been at Florida State as a coach since 1994. Longest tenured assistant in all of college football. An FSU alum through and through.
And you look at the players he's going to have a chance to coach this year. We mentioned Braden Fisk. The defensive line is going to be a real strong point.
Injury timeout for the defense.
Injury down on the field. We'll take Lamont Green, the injured player for FSU, making his way back to the locker room. Good to see that he's up and okay. Looked like it might have been his right arm, right wrist. So he'll go back. There's a thumbs up. That's good to see from Lamont Green. And the spring game rolls on here at Florida State with the gold team leading the Garnet team 28-0. A.J. Duffy back in at quarterback. Under 3 minutes to play in the third and final quarter of this spring game. And then we've got the grand finale coming up after this third quarter ends. The guest coaches will be down there. Charlie Ward and Henry Crockett representing the 93 team. As there's an interception by the mid-year enrollee, the true freshman, Quindarius Jones.
Yes, sir. 6'2", 200-pound freshman, doing a really nice job in the zone, finding the spot. Not a great read there by A.J. Duffy, but again, Jones just kind of falling into the spot there. That play might have been picked anyway by the other DB, but nonetheless, it's really nice to see these young players on this defense getting a chance to make plays, coming up with those turnovers. That hashtag is real.
Mission takeaway.
Mission takeaway.
A few of them today. Quindarius Jones getting in on the action. Meanwhile, one of the stars of the FSU defense is standing by with Pete Thamel, who's got Jared Verse with him. Pete?
Thanks, Sam. The transfer portal opened today, and we're here with one of the people who's the success story of the transfer portal, Jared Verse, back for his second year at Florida State after transferring from Albany. Walk us back through your transfer. You go in the portal. What happens next, Jared?
I didn't expect it to happen, but every school, a lot of schools were hitting me up, texting me, trying to get me on visits, recruitment. A lot of people were talking to me, a lot of coaches, scouts, everybody. It blew up really fast. I didn't expect that, to be quite honest.
It blew up fast, and Jared got off to a fast start last season for the Seminoles before injury. Jared, walk us through your decision to stay at Florida State. You're obviously projected to be a first-round draft pick. Obviously, there's a lot to like when you look around this stadium here. What were some of the factors that brought you back for one more year at campus here?
One of the main factors was just personal development. I feel like I'm a pretty good player now, but there's another step, another level that I'm getting so close to breaking that I'm like going to put myself in that next category, that next selection from good to great, from great to amazing, and go on from there. So it's just that was my main factor. And then you see my teammates, everybody's having fun out here, everybody's laughing, everybody's celebrating. I couldn't leave this when I had another chance to not only get better, but come back and do it again.
All right, nerd out for us here a little bit, Jared. You wanted to refine your craft, your mom told me. Give us some nuances of your game of D-line play that you think you can flash next season.
It's definitely hand fighting. That's one thing that I was good at last year. I could beat somebody's hands, but I wasn't beating everyone's hands. You know, there were certain games where some guys were a little bit better than guys who played the week previous. And I wasn't beating their hands. I wasn't doing this. I had to use moves that I would like fall back on and kind of got in my head. So once I become more confident in my hands, that's like the main thing I want to focus on.
Well, the Seminoles are hand fighting in a new category after a 10-win season. You're expected to compete with the elite in college football this year. What are your expectations of what this season can be at Florida State, Jared?
I think it's greatness. I think it's one of those seasons that no matter how it ends, it's going to be looked back at like, oh, this was one of the best teams ever in college football. I think everybody's going to look at us and go like, okay, that guy, all of them amazing. Across the board, you can look at all the O-linemen, all the D-linemen, running backs, quarterbacks, safety, secondary, linebackers, everybody. I want everybody to be able to look back and go like, okay, yeah, like that was the team. That's the standard.
All right, and we'll go back to the booth where E.J. Manuel is one of the guys that set that standard about a decade ago. Thanks, Jared. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Good stuff, Pete. Thank you very much. Jared Verse back in the saddle for year 2 here at FSU. And no doubt that he's looking to make it an even better year than his breakout campaign a year ago.
No question. You heard what the young man said he wants to get better at, and that's hand fighting. That's combat. That's just coming off the ball. And some of these big tackles, they're going to have a chance to maybe block him in. You know, when you have a great pass rusher like this, offensive coordinators respect that. And what they do by that, they have a tight end to stand there and chip and help that defense, help that tackle, maybe take off a little bit of that pressure. But again, when you have great and excellent hands, ferocity coming off the line of scrimmage, you're still going to have a chance to get back there for some sacks. Because I'll tell you what, he's going to have 3 other guys on that defensive line that can make plays too.
Well, this is the untimed end of the third quarter. Clock's at zeros, but Coach Norvell wants to see this series play out. There's Jared enjoying the sideline there with Pete.
And to just hit back on Jared Verse, my first question to defensive coordinator Alan Fuller was, just tell me about Jared. Like, what kind of player is he? And the first thing he said was, he's a great teammate. He's a good person. He has great effort. He has detail in his technique. The arrow is up for his future as far as the trend. And really, wild to say, but he said Jared even has more in the tank. And you heard Jared talk about it. He can still get better, going from good to great, great to amazing. It's just really cool to hear a player that's already so decorated still will be hungry and want to get more.
Well, that is the end of the third quarter, which means it is time for the grand finale. So what we're going to have here, 3 alternating series from midfield. It's the 1993 team against the 2013 team. 2 national championship teams represented here at Doak Campbell Stadium. Charlie Ward and Henry Crockett from the 93 team, and Carlos Williams and PJ Williams from the 13 team. Coach Norvell getting ready here for a little coin toss. You were part of this last year, EJ.
Yeah.
Did you win? Were you guys on the winning team?
Brian McFadden and myself, we did win.
All right.
We beat Danny Cannell, Peter Boulware. I'll let them talk here first.
Here we go.
Coin toss.
It is heads.
Offense or defense? You want the ball?
One ball.
That way?
93 team wants the ball.
Okay, I like that.
93 received the ball.
There's Charlie Ward on the right side, the former Heisman Trophy winner. Henry Crockett, legendary defender. He's the defensive coordinator for this.
Yep.
But it'll be the 93 team starting on offense, so we'll see what Coach Ward, as we talked with him earlier, has up his sleeve as far as the play calling goes.
And this was a really fun situation for myself because, granted, I played quarterback, but I never had the chance to actually be the offensive coordinator, put the headset on, and have communication between myself and the quarterback. And the biggest thing I told the quarterback, which I had last year, was Tate Rodemaker, hey, man, just take care of me. Don't turn it over. And what I meant by that was, I'll take care of you with the next play. If it's not there, just throw it away, take off a run. Just don't put it in harm's way. And Tate definitely listened, and he had really nice drives. Like I said, we had 3 touchdowns and put a little bit of a hurting on Danny Cannell and Peter Boulware. Sorry, guys.
Bragging rights forever.
Forever, literally, right?
Now, what do you think's going through the 13 team's mind here? They're on defense to start. Carlos Williams, who ended his career on offense, started as a defender, and PJ Williams as well.
Yeah, well, the thing about it, I don't know what kind of plays Carlos is going to call. And I'm just being honest. I love Los, but he's a running. No, I'm just kidding. He's a running back, so I'm sure he's going to have a nice, heavy, mesh with the run game, give the running back an opportunity to kind of fall behind some of these offensive linemen. Let's see what he does.
All right, here we go. 93 team has the ball first with A.J. Duffy at quarterback, and they start with a little swing pass. C.J. Campbell brought down just behind the line of scrimmage, so it'll be 2nd down and long.
And the cool part here, too, Sam, is Jordan Travis is no longer playing. So these are really good reps for A.J. Duffy, for Tate Rodemaker, for Brock Glenn, the freshman. I want to take this stuff serious, and I understand it's a different play caller, whether it's Carlos or whether it's Charlie Ward, but nonetheless, still execute and try to put some points on the board.
2nd down and 10, a little end-around give to Vandravius Jacobs.
I like that.
The true freshman's got some burst up the sideline. That'll be enough for a 1st down.
And this is the offense by the 93 team, so this is plays being called by the Heisman Trophy winner, Charlie Ward. I like that one. Move the chains there. Make the defense play sideline to sideline.
So now 1st down and 10 for the 93 team here, the first possession of the grand finale. Run play up the middle, Rodney Hill, and he is stacked up.
Good defense. 96 has been showing up tonight. Dante Anderson out of Miami. Homestead High School doing a really good job at the point of attack. Big young man, 6'3", 255 pounds. certainly going to add to that depth of that defensive line. You got to imagine when you have great players like Fabian Lovett, Jared Verse in front of you, man, like that's a great way to get better yourself. And again, as a backup, you're one play away from being out there on the field. So really good reps for him.
2nd down and 10. Duffy back to throw, and now he'll get out of the pocket and run. And he's out of bounds right about the 31-yard line. So decent little scramble by A.J. Duffy to pick up 9.
Yep, A.J. Duffy just doing a good job of surveying the field. And like I said, not forcing the pass here. In this situation, you want the drive to extend, so there's nothing wrong with taking off and getting to the sideline. Number 31 on defense, DeMarco Ward, another freshman, adding that pressure to get that young man out of bounds.
All right, let's see what Charlie Ward's got up his sleeve here on the money down. 3rd down and 1. They've got to get to the 30 to pick it up.
I haven't seen any pressures brought on by this defense. P.J. Williams being called. Got to stop right there, though, by the D. Okay.
Ayobami Tifase getting in again as they try that end around one more time.
Yeah, try the jet sweep one more time, but looked like Bishop Thomas, number 90 out of New Orleans, Moore High School, did a really good job getting off the ball. And as you said, Tifase coming out there wreaking havoc. Once again, these are backups on the defensive line, being able to get a push and get all these stops, especially on 3rd down. Now we got a 4th down situation.
Yeah, this is a big moment right here. 4th and 4. Need to get to the 30. 93 team coached by Charlie Ward and Henry Crockett trying to keep this first series alive. There's A.J. Duffy back to throw.
Back.
Probably would have been a sack as he completes to Lawrence Toafili.
Yep, it's a stop.
Well, hang on here. They got to make sure they get the correct call. They're going to say he didn't make it.
Yep, it's a stop. 41, A.J. Cottrell on the defensive coming up making a stop. Now, the reason that's a stop is because this is a thud period. Nobody's taking anybody to the ground, especially if you have a green jersey on which Lawrence Toafili has. So I like that fairness in the call. Turnover on downs.
Let's go back downstairs to Pete Thamel, who is standing by with one of the breakout players of today's game, Kentron Portier. Pete?
Yeah, here with Kentron. Obviously, Kentron, a huge day today. There's the depth of this team has really shown. Has it been hard for you to maybe get an opportunity and break through? And what do you think today can do for you moving forward?
I think today for me moving forward, to showcase my ability, what I can do, what I've been working on for the last 3 years that I've been here. And I feel like, it's not just come in here, come work, get the opportunity that you get, they come and make the best of it every time you do it.
Patience is rare in college football, as we see with the portal opening today, Kentron. What about this place made you want to stick around?
I believed into it. I ain't chasing nothing. I didn't want to work on me and being the best I can on and off the field. And I trust Coach Novell with me, and I stuck around.
You obviously have a deep connection with Jordan Travis at this point, having played with him for all your years here. What do you think he can become in this final season here?
That man is. He gonna be one of them. He gonna be one of them. Heisman, I call him right now, Heisman winner this year. And next year, whatever he do in the league, he gonna be the best at whatever he does.
All right, you heard it here first. Heisman and beyond for Jordan Travis. Thank you, Kentron.
Yes, sir. No problem. Thank you.
Back up to you guys.
Thank you, Pete. How about Kentron Portier? Big time display today.
Yeah, big time display. And it's really cool to see that because the coaches raved about this young man. We asked them, who's going to have a breakout year? And they said Kentron Portier. Coach Norvell said it. Coach Atkins said it. And he definitely showed up today. It's really cool for him to show that love to QB1 Jordan Travis. But I'll tell you what, Jordan Travis is going to show a lot of love to Portier because you have multiple receivers that can not only make the catch but also have juice to have that yards at the catch.
Christian White in there on that last stop. Believe the 13 team has the ball here after making that first stop here in the grand finale. Little face-off between some former FSU legends who are the guest coaches, Charlie Ward and Henry Crockett from the 93 National Championship team, and Carlos and P.J. Williams from the 13 National Championship team. Brock Glenn
vertical, there
got
it
his
is.
man. It's Kyle Morlock.
Nice.
The tight end who transferred in from Shorter out of D2, and he's got a catch inside the 10.
An excellent throw here by Brock Glenn, allowing Morlock, number 84, to get around the linebacker. And as soon as he breaks off, you see him snap his head around. Boom, ball on him, right in the chest. 6'6" tight end. Going to be a huge threat for this vertical passing game.
A two-time D2 All-American.
Throw it away. Nice.
There it is. Live to play another day.
Absolutely. And most young quarterbacks, it's hard for them to do that. This is a really good practice rep, in my opinion, because every team that I've played for, especially the coordinator, says, look, just take care of me by throwing the ball away. When you run outside, sure, you can take off and try to run somebody over, but then you risk yourself getting injured. You risk yourself possibly fumbling the ball, giving it back to the defense. Throw that thing away and move on to the next down, second down.
You see Carlos and P.J. Williams there on the sideline. 13 team trying to get on the scoreboard here in the grand finale.
Let's see. I think there's going to be a run play here. Tight end's going to come across from the cutoff block. Ooh.
There it is. And the defense was right there for it.
Number 93, Malachi
Menser.
Bringing the pain. Watch the get off here. Nobody blocks him. Comes right in, puts his hat on the hat of the running back there. C.J. Campbell really nowhere to go. Excellent play by another young player, Malachi Menser out of Punta Gorda, Florida.
So now you got 3rd down and goal from outside the 10. See what Coach Lowe styles up here.
Okay, got trips to the left here, so I'm assuming 3rd down situation. You're going to throw the ball here. And I call that seam one more time. Tight split, the motion.
Inside give. Ooh, C.J. Campbell staying on his feet. Down to the 6-yard line.
Solid play call here by Carlos Williams, Coach Los, the 2013 National Championship team. C.J. Campbell doing what he can, making 2 or 3 guys miss, trying to get positive yards to make this field goal attempt a little easier here for Ryan Fitzgerald.
So it'll be a short field goal for Ryan Fitzgerald. 13 team looking to get on the board first. He needs a holder. He's trying to signal in Alex Mastromato, the punter and holder. He was on the sideline a little late to the party.
Might need you, buddy. Might need you here. Nothing worse than being the last guy late for a special teams play. Coach gonna rip him about that later on.
23-yard field goal for Ryan Fitzgerald. Good snap from James Rosenberry. Mastromato, good hold. And Fitzgerald knocks it through. 3-0 to the 13 team here in the grand finale.
Very nice. And that's actually something to pay attention to, the battle at the kicker position. Ryan Fitzgerald last year, 60% on his field goals, 12 of 20. They also got a transfer portal player, Tyler Keltner, coming over from Eastern Tennessee State University, a Tallahassee kid as well from Childs High School. So it's going to be interesting to see how that thing develops, because you want to have a kicker that you can rely on, especially if you can't get a 1st down on a 3rd down situation. You want to feel comfortable if you get inside the 40-yard line that you're going to come out with 3 points.
You just saw Josh Papuchis. He's the special teams coordinator in his 4th season here at FSU. Came over from Maryland, former defensive coordinator at both North Carolina and Nebraska. And now it'll be the 93 team with the ball for its 2nd possession. You get 3 possessions here in this alternating series here of the grand finale. 3-0 start for the 13 team. Here's round 2 with Brock Glenn back at quarterback. A little handoff to Lawrence Toafili. And he's running out of bounds by Quindarius Jones, who had the interception moments ago.
Yeah, again, another freshman, number 16, Quindarius Jones, coming off his block, trying to make a tackle on the sideline. And just for those fans at home, wondering why are you tackling the guy when you have a green jersey on like that, especially the quarterbacks, but also some of these running backs, Trey Benson, Lawrence Toafili. Not want to put too much pressure and potentially hurt those guys, the knees, the ankles. Just tag them up, let them go out of bounds in the play. Move on to the next one.
2nd down and 5. Glenn fumbled the exchange, and he falls on it. Almost another turnover there, but Glenn fortunate to fall on top of it.
And a great coaching point here for a young quarterback. In this situation, it doesn't even look like 22 is expecting to get the ball, C.J. Campbell. So I'm not sure if they were on the same page there, but obviously a good job by Brock Glenn getting on top of that football, covering it up, making sure they have a chance here now. 3rd and 10 situation.
Loss of 6 moves them back to the midfield line. 3rd down and 10 here for the 93 team.
Work the seams here. Work the seams. Work the seams.
Glenn, little floater.
Ooh, back shoulder.
He connects. Vandravius Jacobs putting his foot in the ground. Yards after the catch inside of the 10.
What a throw and what a play. Excellently thrown ball here by the young freshman Brock Glenn to another freshman, Vandrevius Jones out of Vero Beach. And what I love here is not only bringing in and securing the catch, but the yards after the catch. That's a quarterback's best friend. If I could throw you a ball 10 yards, you could take it another 20, we're going to be best friends.
Freshman to freshman there, 44-yard completion. Glenn back to the air, and he hits another freshman.
Nice, Hakeem Williams.
Williams in the end zone, and a touchdown for the 93 squad.
Now that's really cool. 3 players that we're just mentioning that are early enrollees, top recruits, getting a chance to get their feet wet, and also locking it in with a touchdown pass back-to-back. Like to see it from Brock Glenn. Attaboy.
It's a big-time emotion in the celebration for Williams, getting greeted back on the sideline. Glenn with the touchdown pass. And there's the reaction, PJ Williams. Lets up the touchdown drive there. Gonna have to go back to the drawing board.
Might have to mix it up a little bit, maybe bring some pressures, PJ. Carlos looking at you sideways right now.
That is great.
Great throw, though. The ball location here, catch, set, throw. Put it right in the outside pocket there for Hakeem Williams to catch it, roll over, and walk in for a touchdown.
So the 2 true freshmen, mid-year enrollees, making plays on that drive. Jacobs with the big 44-yard catch on the 3rd down and 10. And then right after that, Williams with the touchdown. 2 big pickups of the offseason. Some of the youngsters getting a chance to show their stuff here late in this Florida State Spring Showcase. We saw Jordan Travis earlier. We saw Jared Verse. There's Charlie Ward. Got some stats on the quarterbacks who have played today. Travis hit 9 of 14, 99 yards, touchdown and a pick. Rodemaker 5 of 12, 74 yards. Duffy 6 of 13, 67 yards and a pick. So those are the top 3 with Glenn operating right now.
Yeah, really solid day by the quarterback group. Coach Tony Tokarz, the quarterback coach, has been really proud of this group. And talking to Coach Mike Norvell, everybody gets the attention to Jordan Travis, but the 3 behind him, Coach Norvell said they still push him. They still try to make sure that he's on his P's and Q's, being sharp in meetings, making sure that he's still helping these guys mature. And you want the guys behind you, when you're the starter, to still help you lock in and want to hold down your position. Of course, he's going to be QB1, but it goes a long way where the entire group is getting better because, like I said, they're 1 play away from going out there and trying to lead this team.
Well, now a new quarterback into the game. Dylan McNamara has checked in with a penalty marker down. Redshirt freshman from Naples, Florida, 6'2", 215.
Good opportunity for the young man here.
Illegal formation, offense, more than 5 in the backfield, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
And a good coaching point here from McNamara, considering he's a young quarterback, redshirt freshman. When you first get in the game, didn't get a lot of reps in this game, but make sure everybody's lined up. Just take your time, try to take a deep breath. It's much easier said than done, of course, because you're excited and you want to do well. But you also got to make sure the guys around you, because they're nervous too. Those 10 guys around you are nervous as well, so make sure everybody's lined up. Then you can go out there and run that play.
McNamara with the handoff. C.J. Campbell ridden down.
Another nice tackle by 41, A.J. Cottrell, redshirt freshman out of Tampa, Florida, Jesuit High School. Played in 2 games last year and then redshirted, but I'll tell you what, he's shown up a lot. Getting off his blocks, getting to the ball carrier.
So the 13 team, coached by former legends Carlos Williams and P.J. Williams, with its 2nd possession on offense here. Trying to respond after the 93 squad got the touchdown. McNamara drops the snap. And that's going to be a sack behind the line of scrimmage. Once again, Malachi Menzer making the most of his time getting in the backfield.
Malachi Menzer, 2021 ACC Honor Roll. Not only do we got great football players here in Tallahassee, we got some really smart young men as well. He's had a great day, really putting a good foot forward to find himself on that depth chart come the fall.
FSU coming off of its best season in the classroom in history, highest GPA for the team in history. Coach Norvell very proud of that when we were talking in the week. Here's 4th down and 12 for the 13 squad.
Corner blitz.
McNamara completes on the near side right before the sticks. Carson Pylock with the catch, but it looks like they're going to rule him just short, and it's a stop for the 93 squad.
Aggressive play call right there. The defense bringing in a corner blitz, forcing that ball out of the quarterback's hands. I like the decision by McNamara. Put it in a good spot, too, for your receiver to have a chance to come down with it. Not sure if Coach Norvell called it a catch or not. Nonetheless, really fun period right there to get those guys some coaching opportunities.
Well, looks like that's going to be it. And it's going to be a win for the 93 squad in the grand finale. And it is a day in the books for the Garnet and Gold 2023 showcase for Florida State here